you're still with us, hopefully, because it's all pretty complicated. So joining us now is Sultan Meghji, a former Chief Innovation Officer at the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, an expert in technology, regulation, and policy, knowledgeable in everything from AI to cybersecurity and quantum computing, which is a fancy way of saying they're way more knowledgeable about this than I am. Safe to say, right? Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Eric. Thanks for having me.
Good. Thank you for coming in and saving me from all of this. It's super complicated, but I wanted to get back to the Coinbase situation I just mentioned. You know, could people actually lose everything if there's a bankruptcy situation?
I mean, it's not incredibly likely, but it does highlight the fact that digital assets and cryptocurrencies don't fall inside of the traditional regulatory regime. You know, for example, you can't get FDIC insurance on your crypto holdings. You know, a lot of people want that, but the law doesn't actually allow for it. Now, the SEC is probably going to end up taking a lot of first steps in this space, and Coinbase is starting to act like a traditional exchange. But just like if you open a brokerage account and you invest in a stock and that stock price goes to zero, you've lost your value. And the exact same thing can happen here with cryptocurrencies. And I think, you know, with everything we're seeing with the economy right now, and especially with the value of certain crypto assets that aren't really backed by anything, they're backed by math, they're backed by emotion. You know, the value in these things are highly volatile.
So from the outside looking in, for people who are at least familiar with it but haven't really gone in, it all honestly seems pretty unstable. And there are two camps out there, at least when you have conversations with friends. There are people who think, I have friends like this, people who think crypto is the future and anyone who's not investing is making a huge mistake. And then you have the other side, people who think they're the ones that are risking a lot by having faith in crypto. Is one side right or wrong, or more right or more wrong than the other here?
It's way too early to tell. You know, the underlying technologies in a lot of cryptocurrencies, what we call DeFi or Web3, that is the future of financial services. And we see it all over the world. We're starting to see it here in the United States. Does that mean any one cryptocurrency is going to make anyone a millionaire or be the most interesting or most safe place to put your money? No. I always joke, a friend of mine is like a financial planner, and he says, you know what, you don't put all your money in one stock, you don't put all your money in your savings account. Same thing is true here. Crypto historically has been a way to make some money. That might not be true anymore. We don't really know. And so we just have to keep a balanced portfolio and think about it. The underlying technology is really interesting, and you see it in things like a central bank digital currency conversation or some of the other stablecoin discussions where we're allowing people to use traditional money in a more digital way. You know, it allows us to, you know, send money to each other. We can, you know, you can buy me lunch and I can pay you back for it immediately with my phone. That's all fantastic. These cryptocurrencies, some of them are very likely going to be around for a long time and have value. Some of them aren't. But if I had a magic 8 ball on that one, I would probably not be here right now and sitting on a beach somewhere.
And I have one more question for you. We're almost out of time. Should people be concerned about security? Because we've already seen things like NFTs and people falling victim to scammers. Real quick, we have about 30 seconds.
Absolutely. Whether it's in this topic or any other financial services, you should absolutely be thinking about cybersecurity first and foremost. The threat landscape, as we call it in financial services, is the largest and riskiest it's ever been. And so just like you should have two-factor authentication for your email, you should have two-factor authentication for your bank. If your bank is not, you know, doing the best stuff with great mobile apps and you know, high levels of cybersecurity, maybe think about going to a different bank. And the exact same thing is true about cryptocurrency. Multi-factor authentication is a key thing that everybody should be doing.
Absolutely. Be safe and do your homework. Sultan, thanks so much for coming on to talk to us about it today.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Eric.